Hey guys, it's your boy APT coming to you semi live from Sydney, Australia. I'm currently here on vacation. And so while I was here, I'm still cognizant of things going on in the States. And I was very aware that Lil Wayne was going to be dropping his fifth version of the Carter 5, this weekend. After years of being in litigation with Cash Money and having the album shelved, it finally got released. And so, me being out here, I got to download it like when it dropped at midnight, like 3 in the afternoon here. So, I want to preface this by saying this. This is going to be a short review of this album, okay? But when the album first got delayed 4 years ago, and then it kept getting delayed, I know Wayne was mad that, oh, they're holding me back and they're not allowing me to release it and blah, 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 blah. I always had this theory that the reason that Baby was not allowing the album to be released was because it secretly was no good. And I based that assumption off of the first single he did with Drake called Believe Me, which to me was bouncy, but it was a kind of a weak single to put out. And then he had actually put out another song with a video where he's like in a straitjacket. And I'm looking at the song just this is like, this is just like not progressive Wayne. Like to me, the best Carter album still is by far the third Carter album. The fourth one was okay in parts, but I started to notice that he was relying on the same type of tropes over and over again, where he was like, he'd make a punchline joke, then another punchline, then another punchline, then another punchline. And so, I think that's all good for rap because I like punchlines, like jokey things, but I also like to have songs where the artist is actually delving into their lifestyle and really talking about, what they're going through and things that they're really actually facing, And on the Carter 4, Wayne had a lot of songs talking about like, oh yeah, well, he had a lot of lines talking about like, oh, I'm gonna shoot you this in like various different ways, jokingly, oh, I got guns like this, and oh, my goons and my bloods will do this and this and that, and he just kept doing that. So I couldn't imagine the fifth Carter being any better, because then he released I'm Not a Human Being 1 and 2. He released Rebirth, which was a horrible, horrible album. And all those things had the same tropes on them. They were just consistently bad puns that he was trying to put together about guns, about having sex with women, about doing drugs. Repeat, repeat, repeat. All that said, so when I finally downloaded the Carter 5 album and listened to it, I was not surprised that the majority of the album contains the same stuff I just talked about. And it wouldn't be so bad if like he had a good soundscape through it, because let's be honest, after a few albums an artist runs out of stuff to say and they just start repeating themselves. Jay-Z has said time and time again, he talks about the same four things, but he picks good beats and a good soundscape. Eminem is at the point now where he has to kind of like basically just talk about the influence he's had over rap and how good he still is. And again, that didn't work too well with him on Revival, but put some decent beats behind him and you get Kamikaze, which it's the same type of stuff, but it sounds great. And he's trying different styles out in terms of rapping. He's actually like still managing to talk about new subject matter. Wayne ain't got none of that. He don't. Like, he has one song at the end where he briefly mentions trying to kill himself at the age of 12 because he wanted to rap and his mom wouldn't let him, so he put a gun to his chest and tried to shoot himself. And then he's got a song with XXXTentacion. Forgive me if I'm getting that wrong because I'm 36 and old, so I don't always get the new rappers' names right. But the recently deceased Triple Extension, where, it's the song called Don't Cry. And I thought that was actually a really poignant way to start off the album. It's not Wayne going to his regular usual, like, consistently bad pun lines and stuff like that. And then from there, just like the album, I'll put it to you this way. So I'm in Australia and I got tickets to go see the Book of Mormon last night. So where I'm staying is like an hour and a half away from where the play is happening. So I literally started the album when I left where I'm staying, and I went to go caught the bus, caught the train, and I listened to it the whole time. And about halfway through the album, I was like, when is this going to end? When is this going to end? I felt like I was painstakingly trying to get through each song. Now let's contrast that with Drake's recent album, okay? Drake put out an album that was 2 discs long. It was like 20 something odd songs also. But the beats were interesting. The subject matter changed up. He's got a few jokey things here and there, but he's just a really good lyricist and he's on point with his stuff. He has a soundscape that we're familiar with, but he actually changed up a bit, so he had more beats that were a bit more up tempo. And not to say that the beats on Wayne's album had to all be up tempo, but a lot of them just sound like these syrupy, slow beats that just put me to sleep. And I was just like, oh my God, I want to hear an album where, like the Carter 3, where it's like each song is like a hitter. Each beat that comes on is banging. The lyrics are changing up. I think with the Carter 3, he had a good mix of making punchlines, but also talking about stuff mixed in with party songs. And this one just sounds like, it sounds like a guy that's finally glad to just get an album out, and now he's moping about the fact that it took him this long to get out. So the album wasn't interesting to me at all. And I'm a fan of Wayne. I mean, I got his I'm Not a Human Being albums, his mixtape albums. This just sounds like an afterthought. It just sounds like an afterthought. The songs that I do like, even if I like them, I can't think of any lines from that really stood out. I can think of some of the beats that stood out to me. Like he has one where he samples G-Dep's Special Delivery that kind of stood out. The song with Kendrick Lamar, I actually like Kendrick's part more so than his. And Wayne does, attempt to try different flows on this album. So I can't be mad at him for putting in the effort. It's just the effort left me bored and wanting to finish the album so I could stop listening to it. And that, to me, is not a good sign of an album that's going to be long-lasting. Now, other people might have their opinions. They might think like, oh, the mood he was going for fit me perfectly, and I like the way that it sounds, but it just didn't do it for me. I'm really disappointed. I might go back through and listen to like 2 or 3 songs. I know I like Don't Cry, the one with Kendrick, like I said. There might be like 1 or 2 more on there that I might have caught some stuff, but it's 23 tracks. And of those 23 tracks, it just didn't seem like it was worth the 4-year wait to finally get this album. So that's my take on the album. I hope he puts out something else that's a little bit shorter. I hope he takes lessons from Eminem's Revival, because Eminem's Revival, I personally thought it was okay. Like it wasn't as bad to me as other people made it out to be, but it definitely felt like a long album. And so he was smart when he came out with Kamikaze to have it down to just 11 songs. It's like 45 minutes and then you're out, and it makes you want to listen to it over and over again. This is like forcing you to listen to Wayne for an hour and 23 minutes, and it is boring. So love to hear your thoughts on the album. Go ahead and leave a comment down below, and I will catch you guys later. I'm out. Peace.